What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millsy, back with Hometown Commander, back for another episode of Millsy Brews, the show where I brew my version 1.0 deck list of the commander in front of us on my quest to brew the magic world. We are still rocking the mtgotj content, man. There are so many fun commanders to brew. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Please like, comment, and subscribe if this video speaks to you in any way. But today we're talking about Geralf the Fleshwright, a 2 and a blue human warlock 2/3 commander that says when you cast a spell during your turn, other than your first spell that turn, we make a 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature token. And whenever a zombie ETB is under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on it for each other zombie that entered onto the battlefield before it under your control this turn. Geralf is a lot of fun because I think there's a lot of ways we could take this. Obviously, we probably want to go a little stormy, play a lot of really cheap spells to try to get a bunch of those zombie tokens, but we're also going to kind of play a little bit into the zombies, zombie tribal kindred, the zombie matter stuff, just to try to make sure that our zombies hit a little bit harder. There's a couple zombies that give flying to all our zombies, and that matters, right, when we're going wide with tokens. And then we're going to talk about a little bit of like the counters, payoffs that we can do, just a little bit. There's a little bit mono blue. I think we can take advantage of some of it, but in all reality, our goal is to cast spells and as many spells on the turn as we can, get a bunch of zombies, and get stuck in there for damage. Well, in blue there's a ton of cheap spells, and I'm just going to pick my favorite, 9 or 12 of them, but in all reality, most of this deck is spells underneath. 2 mana deck list is going to be in the description for you below. We're going to see things like Ponder and Preordain, Serum Visions, just draw cards for 2 mana that can let you scry or look at your deck at all. Playing things like Consider, very similar to those draw cards. Slip Through Space can make a creature unblockable to a turn, draw you a card. High Tide can give you a big turn by tapping all your islands, tapping for more mana. Opt, very similar to our 1 mana draw spells. Leap can give a creature flying till end of turn and draw us a card. Pongify and Rapid Hybridization are both in the deck for a little bit of removal at 1 mana. And then we have things like Quicken to give a sorcery spell flash if we want to, but also draw a card. Thought Scour to make somebody mill 2 and draw a card. And then Shadow Rift to give a creature shadow until end of turn and draw a card. Again, these 1 mana draw spells are really helpful because they get us that one spell needed to then get to the point where we can make zombies with Geralf, but we're also getting value back out of them for 1 mana. So, because the deck is full of these cheap spells, we're going to run out of them. We're going to play them. And so we want ways to get them back, right? We want ways to kind of allow us to play them again. We have things like Leer, which can just allow us to cast them back all of our graveyard with Flashback. Gale is a pretty fun ability. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery from our hand, we can cast up to 1 target card from the other type from your graveyard, except we exile it once we cast it. But again, we do cast it, so that will allow us to, we have to pay the mana for it, but hey, that allows us to get another spell and potentially get a zombie. O'Hare, Pack Petite, let's just get Rebound on our instance when we play them, meaning at the start of our next cup, we can play them again, cast them again without paying their mana cost, and again, getting more of those triggers. We also have really interesting things like the new Forger's Foundry from the Commander deck, which basically allows us to say whenever we spend this mana to cast an instant sorcery with mana value 3 or less, we can exile that spell instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. And then for 5 mana, we can cast any number of the spells put underneath it. I like this because it's kind of a mini Arcane Bombardment in some ways, which is a card that works really well in those spell slingy type decks. Midnight Clock can get our whole graveyard back into our library to allow us to play through them again. And then Metallurgic Summonings can make us a construct every time we cast a spell, but we can exile it as soon as we have 6 or more artifacts and get every spell from our graveyard back to our hand and be able to kind of run through them again, use them again, and keep getting zombies. Well, we're not playing a ton of zombies. Most of our creatures in the deck are either spell payoff creatures or zombies, but we have things like Eternal Skylord and Hordewing Scab, which will just give other zombies flying, meaning that we can actually get those tokens in, hopefully unblockable on some people. If not, they have to deal with them even harder, which should allow us to get that damage through. Geralf can sacrifice another non-token creature to make a big zombie, which is kind of interesting, but it also gives all of our zombies flying. So again, here's 3 ways to give our zombies flying. and get us some benefit into getting those tokens in. But we have other ways. Metallic Mimic will make sure they all at least come in with a +1/+1 counter on it. Raise the Palisade can bounce every creature that isn't a zombie back to everybody's hands. Maybe clear the way for a big board of our zombies to make an attack. And then Kindred Discovery actually draws a card every time a zombie comes in or a zombie deals combat damage. Attacks, draws a card as well. So this is a way to get some card draw out of all these zombies that are coming in when we're casting spells. That way we can refill our hand and keep the party going. There's a couple counter payoffs we have in the colors. Of course, we have Waves Goodbye there on the right. Card that can return each creature without a +1/+1 counter on it to their owner's hands, potentially leading the way of clearing the board for all of our zombies. Danny Pink there in the middle says whenever one or more counters are put on this creature, first time he's turned, draw a card. All of our creatures have that, meaning that whenever they come in and get that counter, they're going to draw us cards. But Danny has Mentor, meaning that when it attacks, one of our creatures with lesser power gets a counter and then is going to draw us a card. And then Jason Bright's pretty fun from the Fallout decks. Says whenever a zombie or mutant you control dies, if its power was different from its base power, we draw a card. Remember, all those zombies that come in with counters are going to be different. And for 2 mana, we can sack a creature and put a counter on target creature we control, and it gets flying until end of turn. Again, we could turn a zombie token into another token having flying for some damage. There's a lot here, but the long and short of it is play as many chief spells as we can, get as many zombies as we can, get them stuck into combat. Well, I said it before and I'll say it again, no deck's ever complete. This is my version 1.0 deck list. This is my first run at it. There's always going to be things that I miss, and these were 3 cards that I really wanted to add in. I just couldn't find a spot in the normal 100. Herald of the Secret Streams on the left is a pretty classic +1/+1 counters payoff, making all your creatures with those counters on them unblockable. A great way to get the damage in, but I thought maybe with how many effects they give our zombies flying, I thought maybe we didn't need it. But obviously, if you're looking for a little bit more that guarantee to get your zombies in, you could pull that back in. And then Flux Channeler and Inexorable Tide both do something very similar. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell on Flux or any spell at all on Inexorable Tide, you just proliferate, meaning we can choose any number of permanents or players that have counters on them and put another one on there. I mean, we can just grow our zombies every time we cast a spell. I like them as an idea, but I think we want to focus more on using our mana to really get our spells shotgunned out there, get the counters, get the creatures going. I could see them being in here. I just couldn't decide what to take out. I think all 3 of these probably deserve to go back in. I'm just not sure what the slots are, and this is where I think in testing you could really take a good shot at these guys. Well, getting into our playtest, we have a 4-lander here with Mystic Sanctuary, Counterspell, that's Shadow Rift, and Fortress Foundry. So I like it, and again, Fortress Foundry taps for mana, so we're in a good spot drawing another island. Geralf is 3, so we're just going to kind of work our way till 3. I don't mind the Brainstorm here, but Brainstorm can be kind of brutal, especially in the start of the game, because it gets you into bad draws. I think we just take our turn 3 here and get Geralf down, get it set up. Maybe next turn we can cast a spell or 2 and get the party going. So it doesn't say the type of spell, it just says any spell. So I kind of like the idea of getting the Fortress Strategy down here. Again, it gives us another piece of mana. Now we have 2 mana, and we could Shadow Rift, we could leave up the counterspell if we want to. I guess it would depend on what my board state is for my opponents. If I think I have a free and clear board, I kind of like the idea of Shadow Rifting, giving Geralf Shadow until end of turn, drawing a card. This makes us a zombie with its ability. That'd be rogue, sorry. This makes us a zombie, right? Because we have at least 2 spells, but doesn't get a counter because this is the first zombie to come in this turn. We've got 1 mana left. We could always Brainstorm here, get another zombie with another counter, which I think might be worth it. Draw 3. We'll put the Sanctuary and the Reliquary Tower back on top. We get another zombie rogue, but this time it comes in with a counter since 1 came in before it this turn. And now we, take that hit with Geralf to, deal damage to somebody, and we will actually exile that Shadow Rift or Brainstorm. Let's exile the Let's see if we exiled the Brainstorm with the Foundry, just for the purposes of this. So we draw that Reliquary Tower we threw into the bin. We'll play it for a turn, just that way in case we draw some more, we're not too worried about it. I like getting that Jason Bright now, because now we can sack tokens if need be. 3 mana left. I'd probably use the Foundry to cast Ponder. Look at the top 3, put them back in any order, and then we can shuffle if we want to. Sorry, we grabbed that Shadow Rift there. 3 lands, I think we just put them back on top and shuffle. I mean, I think we're pretty much right. We're at the top end of our land curve here. We really don't need more, so we'll go ahead and shuffle. And then draw a card. Sing a Rapid Hybrid. This is great because now we can leave Rapid Hybrid open for our opponent's turn. We don't have double blue open, but we still at least have Arcane Denial and Rapid Hybrid open on our opponent's turn. But when we cast the Ponder, we will get a Zombie Rogue, and it actually does come in with a counter because of Jason Bright being a zombie. So that's pretty darn cool. Now we can take some attacks here if we want to. And then for our next turn, we see an Archmage, Emeritus, basically just drawing us some cards when we cast spells. That could be pretty useful. Put that down for 4. We got 3 mana left. I mean, I have nothing. I mean, I guess I could main cast a Rapid Hybrid if need be. If not, we just wait. We got plenty of mana up. We got ways to respond to our opponents. Take another swing in. We could always sacrifice with Jason Bright to put a counter on something if we want to. And again, I like this board state. We're going to keep drawing, and then all we need to do is we could literally at any time start casting everything underneath the Foundry if we want to. Now we're at 5 mana. We could just continue to put maybe that last turn we put the Rapid Hybrid under here, and now we can play all 3 of them for 5 mana. Again, I like the Foundry because you can kind of stash the things you want underneath it and play them. But let's go into one more play test. We've got a 2-lander here with Thought Vessel, Fibblethip, which actually lets us plot things off top of our library, which is pretty cool. Slip Through Space, and Wave Goodbye, and Thought Scour. Not a bad start. Turn 1, we see another island, which is pretty darn good. We will take it. Turn 2, get that island down, get the Thought Vessel down. So now we have unlimited cards in our hand, which is nice. Now we're not as worried about drawing too many cards as we would be normally. Turn 3... There's a couple options. We could put Fibblethip down and start looking at the top of our deck to plot. We could also Geralf and another spell to get a zombie token this turn if we want to. I don't see as much value in the extra spell, but I do see the value in Geralf. Then next turn we could potentially cast 2 or 3 spells and get some zombies. We draw another island. So I think I would go ahead and, let's see, 5 mana. Let's get Fibblethip down. We can look at the top card. It is a Sleight of Hand, and we can plot it for its mana cost. I kind of like the idea of just plotting it. We pay the extra 1. We've got 1 left. I'd probably just Thought Scour to have somebody mill for 2 and draw a card, and then we would just get one zombie, no counter, since no other zombies came in this turn. But now we can play Sleight of Hand on a future turn for free, which is pretty darn cool. Let's go another turn here. We have the Wave Goodbye, of course. I think I see an option where we can play Profs, the Shadow Rift, and the Slip Through Space, which would be pretty good. Start off with the Profs. When it comes in, we draw a card. Again, we have more no maximum hand size. And then when we get into combat, we can put counters equal to the number of cards you draw on this turn minus 1. So we're up to 2. We could Slip Through Space Geralf here, drawing another card. This would get us a zombie for being our second spell. That is 3 mana in. We've got 2 mana left. Because it's on cast, if I cast the Metallic Mimic, the zombie wouldn't get an extra, but I kind of like setting up next turn right for it. On the cast, though, we will still get another zombie. And it'll come in with a counter because one other zombie came in before this turn. Unfortunately, Mimic will come in after because it's on cast. But hey, we drew 3 cards, meaning Profs is going to go off the start of combat. We give Geralf, 2 counters? Swing at somebody for 4. Right now we've got a little bit of fun happening. And we can maybe save Sleight of Hand for next turn. This turn, again, 5 mana. Now we can, use the Sleight of Hand if we want to. And I would probably just, ponder into Shadow Rift. Ponder to look at the top 3. Wizards class is pretty cool. Candlekeep Inspiration isn't bad either. I kind of like putting them kind of in the order they're in on top and drawing. So that's our second card draw for turn. Shadow Rift again, you know, draw a card, and we give, you know, Geralf Shadow until end of turn. That would give us our first zombie, and I think now I'm pretty much demonstrating what your goal is here. We're going to be slamming out these little spells. We could potentially try to plot something if it's there on the top of our deck and play it later in a future turn. Again, make the zombies go wide, you know, and I like this idea. I think this is kind of where the deck's shooting to be. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of Geralf? I think this is an interesting deck. Kind of combines that mono blue spell slinging with the zombies. I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below and what cards I missed or what you like the most or dislike the most about the deck. I'd love to chat with you down in the comment section below. Other than that, I will catch you guys next time. See ya.